All right, guys, in this video, we're going to look at some different things that involve strings, okay? Strings are values that are wrapped in either double quotes or single quotes. I'm going to show you how to format them, also look at some methods and stuff like that. So first thing we'll do is let's create a string, a variable with a string in it. So we'll say name equals Brad or whatever you want. And then I want to show you how to concatenate. So we'll say concatenate. So if I want to print and we'll print a string, we'll say hello world and save, and then let's run this by saying python3 strings.py. We get hello world. Now what if I want to put this name in here? What if I want to say hello Brad? Okay, what I would do to concatenate is I'd leave a space here in this string, and then I'd use a plus sign, just like JavaScript. Okay, same exact thing, and then put name. So if I run that, I get hello Brad. Now, what if we wanted to put like my age in here, which was an int? Okay, so if I say age equals 37, and then I wanted to do, we'll concatenate on, I'll say hello. Actually, let's change it to hello, I am Brad, and then we'll do space and I am, and then we'll concatenate on age. Let's see what happens when we do that. So I'm going to clear this up and run it. We get an error. It says can only concatenate string, not int. So since this is an int, it's giving me this error. So what I could do is I could cast this to a string. Remember we did that in the last video. I could simply wrap this in str. Okay, so now if I run it, we get hello, I am Brad, and I'm 37. So now this is a string. Now, if you want to print strings out like this and you want to concatenate, there's easier ways to do this with string formatting. So let's take a look at that. And there's a lot of ways to do this. I'm going to show you two ways. One of these, which is called fstrings, is only available in Python 3.6 and up. Okay, but first one we're going to look at is arguments. We'll say arguments by position. So if I say print, and then in here, I'm going to put in just empty curly braces like this. Okay, so these are basically like placeholders. So if I do a dot format, I can then put in here whatever I want to put in those placeholders. Let's say A, string of B, and string of C. Okay, and I'm actually going to comment out this concatenate up here. And let's run it. We get A, B, C. Now if we wanted to do this in a specific order, what we could do is we could put numbers in here. Like let's say we want to do 1. And it starts with 0. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, and then 0. So you guys can probably guess what this is going to do. If I run this, we get BCA. So it's taking the 1 position and putting it here. The 1 position is actually B because it's 0, 1, 2. Okay, so 2 is C, and then 0 is A, and it puts that here. Okay, so that's using it by position. We can also do arguments by name. I might spell some stuff wrong, guys. When I type, sometimes I just suck at spelling, so don't mind that. And as long as it's in a comment. So let's say print, and let's actually do like a sentence, like we did up above. We'll say my name is, and then what I could do is just use curly braces and put in, let's say name, and I am, and then age, and then I could do a dot format. Okay, just like we did above with the arguments by position, and I could specify name equals Brad, age equals, and we want a string of 37. All right, so let's comment this out. Let's run this. And we get, hi, my name is Brad, and I'm 37. And if we wanted to use these variables up here, we could do that. We could say like name equals age, and if we run that, we get the same thing. Okay, and there's no need to wrap it in string like we did up here. So that's arguments by name. Now I want to take a look at something called fstrings. So I'll say fstrings, only in 3.6 plus. Okay, remember we're using 3.7 right now, and you should be using 3.6 or 3.7 at least at this time. So let's say we want to do what we did right here. My name is name, and I am, and then the age. So I could say print, and just simply put an F right here, and then our quotes like this. And you can use double quotes if you want. And then I could say my name is, remember we have a variable up above called name, and I am age. Okay, so let's run that. We get the same thing. So it's looking at these two variables. So instead of having to do dot format and then assigning these like that, we could just simply take the variables above and stick them right in here. So this is a much easier way of doing things. And this is very simple. This is very similar to using template strings in JavaScript and ES6. Okay, so it makes things easier. And you can return this as well. You don't have to just, print it. So now let's take a look at some string methods. Okay, so I'm going to just create a variable called s, and I'm going to say hello there world. And we're going to look at some different methods. So let's say we want to, actually, let's start off with making these lowercase. Okay, so let's say capitalize first letter. Okay, so if we want to capitalize the first letter, we can use a method called capitalize. So let's say s dot capitalize. You'll see we get the drop down because we have the Python extension installed. So let's go ahead and run that. Oh, I forgot it's a method. So a method is basically a function, so it has to have these parentheses. And there we go, hello there world, and the first one is uppercase. Okay, if you want to make everything uppercase, I'm just going to copy this. So if you want to make everything uppercase, you can use the upper method. Okay, so if I run that, you'll see here, all uppercase. If you want to do all lowercase, you could do that as well. Let's say make all lower, and it's simply s dot lower. Okay, we run that, everything's lowercase. If you want to do a swap case, let's try that. So swap case, and we'll say print s dot swap case. And then what I'll do is make one of these uppercase. So let's do that and see what we get. Okay, it's going to be the last one, and it does just that. It swaps it. So since this is an uppercase, it's going to do a lowercase here, and then the rest are uppercase. If you want to get the length of a string, and this is not for just strings, but this is for like lists and dictionaries and pretty much anything, then you can use the len method or the len function. So let's say get length. We'll say print, and this time we actually wrap it in the len function like that. And let's run it. We get 17. Okay, if we want to replace something in a string, we can do that. So, yeah, so we can use the replace method. So if we say print s dot replace, and let's say we want to replace world with everyone. Okay, I'm going to clear this and run it, and at the end here, hello there everyone. So it'll search for this and replace it with the second parameter. All right, if we want to, let's say, count something, like let's say we want to count how many H's there are in this string. Count, let's say, I'm just going to create a variable called sub and set it to H, and then let's say print s dot count sub, and if we run this, we get 1. Okay, if I were to, let's actually make this all lowercase so that we have more than one. If I were to make this a lowercase h, and run it. Now we get 2. Now I don't want to keep boring you by typing this out, but there are a few more that I want to put in here, so I'm going to paste them in and just quickly go over them. So you have starts with and ends with. This will just basically, it starts with will start at the beginning, and as long as it matches, you know, we could put H here, that would give you true. HE would give you true. Hello gives you true. But if you go out of sequence of what this actually is, like if I do hello F or something, that's going to be false. And then ends with just starts at the back. So ends with D would be true. LD, RLD, that would all be true. Okay. Next thing we have is split. So this would just split it into a list, which is like an array. And I'll get into that. I think in the next lecture we're going to look at lists. Find position, if you want to find the position of any character. So it starts at 0. So this would be 0, 1, 2, and so on. You also have is alphanumeric or is alnum. So if it's alphanumeric, if it's numbers and letters, if it has spaces in it, this will return false. Okay, here we have is alphabetic, so if there's just letters, no numbers. We also have is numeric. And there's a bunch of them. If you just do like s dot, and you'll see all the different methods that are available here. Okay, if you go down. So we have like is digit, is space. There's a ton of them. So if you want to look more into string methods, you can do that, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not the most fun thing in the world. All right, so we'll get into lists in the next video.